begins. The terrain doesn't exactly welcome him. It resists equit step, equit plan, equit attempt to make it manageable. It is steep, broken, and difficult to access, the kind of ground that seems like it was never meant to be measured, because one wrong step standing is not simple here. It demands balance and footing. Still, this is before any work on the shelter itself can begin. Martin checks the terrain, natural slope, and in wet weather, it's extremely slippery. Under those, materials are being carried. Because of pathway is constructed using tree logs that are cut lengthwise into halves. The logs are first selected and prepared off-site, making sure they are strong enough traffic and exposure to the elements. Placed with its flat side facing down onto the log base. Once the wooden access path is completed, he installs handrails using movement along the sloped terrain, safer incline, and the risk of slippery ground, guide movement and reduce the chance of creative. As construction continues along the slope, the handrails start to mark the boundary between the path and the helps with orientation, especially where stays in the forest through the nights close by. He's made the decision to fully build. Living right in the middle of the work instead of stepping away, there's nowhere to really settle in. So hammock turns into the only place to rest at night. Breaking through the trees and birds like this, the morning feels especially. There's a simple pleasure in making a quiet of the surroundings, becoming the main reference point for the anchoring points within the cliff rock where the structure can be secured most effectively. At this early stage, a lot of attention is given to how the entrance lines up, since the entire 2 solid logs are selected and prepared. Then, with care fitted into the shaped and adjusted as needed, so it sits equitating is ready. The logs are set in position, joint is used. A section is cut out from each log at the point where they meet, removing just enough material so the two each other. When equitating lines up to lock into one another, spreading the single contact point. This also helps. That morning, T turns into a turning point for him. The thought comes, shouldn't just be something to pass through. It should be used, lived in, and fully enjoyed for what it offers. The build starts reaching upward toward idea. A wooden porch takes shape as part that caught his attention that morning. Place to pause, sit, and take it all in. Martin builds the porch framework by attaching horizontal support beams to elements with vertical sections. Anchored logs are positioned to form the main load-bearing structure, with care fixed in place to create a solid and well-balanced base. He lays the decking planks, one by one, with care aligned to keep a consistent, securely fastened so it doesn't shift elements. Given the exposed position toward the mountains and the forest below, the handrail system turns into a safety, clearly defined, helping to keep an exposed setting. The space naturally lookout point, with wide views over the turns into a simple dining spot and a quiet to provide an additional point of access. Same proven methods already used at the consistent and reliable. The installation is carried out with careful load, is evenly distributed across both. The creator spatial awareness plays an important role in shaping how the cliff is read. As a series of natural gap in the rock is identified. The recess offers both structural, allowing the bed frame to be built directly into the stone, Additional anchoring points are then cut into the stone, into these fixed points. The main supports of the bed structure are installed, securing it firmly within of the natural formation. To make the shelter suitable for long-term use, Martin reinforces the areas that are still open or structurally weak. He with care selects the logs and cuts them to size so they fit precisely into the uneven gaps surrounding cliff face. Each piece is measured on site, since the natural rock formation creates slight throughout the structure. This allows, instead of trying to force a uniform, the next stage of the enclosure is completed with the installation of a system. This marks an open construction site into a fully enclosed, functional living space. With the door in place, the interior gains a sense of privacy and protection, changing conditions outside. As the second door is assembled, a latch is fitted to both doors to complete the positioned at a practical height and the adjacent frame. It serves a simple but effective purpose, allowing the entrance to be locked from the inside and held securely once closed, to create a reliable vertical connection stairs. This part is especially pathway below, with the elevated porch at between the levels to feel more direct. Sturdy logs are used as the side rails of the ladder, forming the main, are positioned with care to follow the slope and fixed in place so they remain steady under weight. Along the inner sides of each rail, evenly spaced, keep a consistent step height and rhythm. Martin creates a small transition platform where the ladder meets the making movement between the two, more comfortable and secure. This junction ends, and the flat surface begins. It could feel awkward or unstable. The surface turns into slippery, and footing is less predictable. To take shape, this one leading up to the sleeping area. It's fitted into the structure so it doesn't get in. The deliberate decision is made to leave open so it can serve as the main source of natural light. Instead of closing it off with solid log walls, the design keeping an opening that lets daylight reach deep into the shelter. Once the frame is complete, Martin cuts size of the opening. The material is and resistance to impact. It's far less easier to handle during installation. At the same time, it still allows plenty interior bright and open while and debris. All remaining small gaps around the windows are filled with moss, used as into the narrow spaces where it helps naturally with the surrounding materials. The remaining underside spaces of the roof are with care filled with logs. Logs are shaped and adjusted with extra and stable fit. A deliberate opening section is kept open on purpose, acting to flow into the shelter and keep the second. To protect the exposed wooden parts of coating to both the terrace boards and extend the lifespan of the structure under changing weather conditions. The flooring is refined by wooden planks. Beneath them, a raised floor slightly off the ground. This base directly over the soil, forming a natural substructure that separates the contact. Air circulation is gently introduced through the gaps, helping to regulate building up. This also helps protect the overall structural integrity of the shelter. As the interior space is limited, each centimeter is with care considered and shelter. The layout is planned with corners are rethought as potential storage areas rather than wasted gaps. Equitaday items are now arranged functional. Now, the goal is to create a fully insulated, weather-resistant enclosure, wind, moisture, and temperature changes, dense, cohesive texture and its natural, combined with the wooden structure, it stabilizes the indoor environment, making the shelter more secure. A compact, tiny home, the space begins to practical way. The kitchen area begins made from logs and wooden boards, as well as a seating area. The logs are with care positioned and secured, forming a solid base that's structure. Nearby, natural elements are stable anchoring point for the frame, reinforce and tie the structure together, with equitathing working in enough to handle repeated use. A section of the shelter gradually begins to take on a clear purpose, and the space turns into more organized. The dining area begins to take shape, its contours forming into a space for daily living. Once the foundation is in place, wooden boards are brought in, and with care, piece by piece, the surface takes shape, settling into a steady and even platform. Gradually, it turns into a solid working and seating area space. To make the dining area more practical, a folding table is added as a smart and eating, with the limited space important. And this setup allows the needed at the moment, when it's in use, on. When it's not, it folds away neatly. The shelter faces its first real test as it's the kind of moment where any week, always a risk, that moisture could find structure, might shift under the conditions. But as the rain continues, of rain outside while the interior stays dry and protected, it's a clear sign. Step by step, the interior begins to feel more comfortable, more settled, home. At night, the forest comes alive, foxes moving through the dark, while shelter, and with each new morning, to keep shaping the space a little. With the interior dining area now in place, the build begins to extend dedicated kitchen structure, making protected from the weather. It takes shape as a compact but solid extension space where meals can be prepared while wind. The process begins with assembling the main wooden framework where solid oak durability and resistance to the use of the surrounding cliff and into a stable base. As the kitchen area sits mostly under open sky rather than beneath, the natural structure becomes much higher. Unlike the supported by the rock itself, this part, wind, rain, and changing temperatures, weight of its own roof. There's always the risk that strong gusts could put pressure on the frame or weaken the joints over time if not built is set with extra care. Making sure its own weight and the conditions Martin builds, the structure with extra rigidity and stability in mind. The clear understanding of how the weight moves through it. The load is guided posts and into the ground, and equitathing is evenly supported, same level of care, paying close resistance to the elements. Each component is with care positioned and secure. In such an exposed spot, even small weaknesses can grow into bigger problems over time. He knows that, so nothing is left loose or uncertain. Flat wooden boards are used to form the roofing layer of the kitchen structure, the surface that distributes the load evenly plane. There is also a clear awareness or slight misalignment could lead to failure under heavy rain or accumulated snow. So, board is positioned and fixed with extra care. Long-term exposure. A waterproofing used in industrial roofing is cut to, it's chosen for its strong resistance to changes. A clay fireplace will be built as the central functional element of the preparing. A natural clay mixture made chopped grass, which helps bind the mixture, is kneaded thoroughly until it turns into dense and workable. Ready to be layer by layer, the clay mixture is applied and shaped into the structure and fire containment walls. The clay is pockets, making the structure denser, and fireplace begins to take on a solid with each stage. Martin bends and shapes the moldings into a smooth curve, forming a structure while also improving how heat and chamber. Frame, acting as a supportive scaffold shape as it's applied. At the same time, the upper section of the fireplace point for the chimney system. The metal structure is fully covered with clay, and the entire fireplace is outer shell. As these elements come more advanced and efficient system, the cooking area, improving warmth while cleaner combustion. A highly functional space filled with a natural sense of warmth and comfort. Fresh air moves easily through the semi-open structure, keeping the space throughout the day. Smoke is guided upward through the smoke tubes, where it is channeled safely. The system helps maintain a steady draft, preventing smoke from lingering inside the shelter and keeping the air clear and breathable. Gradually transforms from a raw cliffside. Throughout this entire time, he and his furry companions stay in the forest, living right inside the evolving with the steady rhythm of forest life. Stone is full of the sounds of wild endlessly in equate direction, and like a shelter as equate thing gradually settles, not just built with hands, but shaped by the landscape like it was meant to be. Stick around. There's always something next project, and tell us what you'd like.